Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. My name is Christian,
I'm Elijah.
and this is How to Human Being, and we're so glad you're here with us. What do we want to say this is? What's our title?
There's no reason to listen to this unless you listen to this.
Write that down.
We've actually started now, and today we are talking about starting with the hardest thing. My note's over here, okay?
The cat in the wind is over there.
And I'm sure that it won't be quiet the whole time. We talked about last time, faithful garbage, and we're gonna get better every time. But there have been so many hiccups along the way, and we're learning. Christian's learned a lot more than me.
We've both learned. We're going to figure out the space problem on your laptop.
We talked about faithful garbage last time. We've been dealing with all these issues with getting going. The first episode was the easiest. We are learning as we go, which is great. So the hardest thing, starting with the hardest thing, there's a premise around our channel and the purpose that we have, and it all requires something to be enacted. If this isn't enacted, there's no point of us talking. And what is enacted has to happen on your end, the one listening. If you're the person who needs to receive what's being said. And that thing is Christian.
Starting with the hardest thing. Yeah. Learning how to change as a person being the hardest thing to begin with. So as we get into this episode, the whole premise is around the idea of personal change, like taking in lessons that need to be learned, being able to do that from any avenue that lesson is coming from. So valuing wisdom regardless of the mouthpiece of wisdom. Also beginning with how and why change is so necessary to be one of our beginning points. Because all of the rest of anything that we could possibly talk about, ideally, if we are bringing up a topic in the future, regardless of what it is, spiritual things, life things, parenting things, finance things, like it begins with the fact that you have to change and you have to internalize that change. You have to recognize that change is needed inside of you. And we've experienced that to some degree, getting to where we're at right now. And so we want to talk about like what that was like for us.
Yeah, what required change and how we are still, it's a constant pushback of the ego and the necessity of change in our lives. It's why do I have to change? I enjoy doing this, even if it's not a need thing. Like I don't need to force myself into a physical grooming habit of shaving on this day every week, but I told myself it's necessary. But I'm fighting against I don't want to or care. It's not like I'm unkept, but I'm doing this because enacting this change helps me do other things that require bigger steps and require more energy and more focus. So doing a small thing is helping keep the ball rolling in my own life. And I know that's very off what you were saying, but it's all to the point of clashing with myself. I'm clashing with myself. And that's going to be, a constant force with anything that we bring up is yourself fighting against you.
So Elijah, as we both step into this, talking about change in our own lives, because really the beginning point is like, uh, with this podcast, our idea is removing the barrier to entry to topics and making it accessible through personal experience and then providing resources. So, looking at your own personal experience with the topic of change, where did you find your point in life or your season in life where you said, I need to do differently and I need to learn how to receive correction and change?
So receiving, I mean, we'll get to this, and it's not a jump, but a pressing of the Holy Spirit upon me is always the root of most of my change. Now, there's times before that where it was, yes, a push of the Holy Spirit saying, you have to change this. But it was also brought up in some cases by sin leading to mistakes, leading to my own issues, having problems, and so on and so forth. But it wasn't always that. And I think perhaps I'm okay with change. I love change. I love change constantly. Like Ashley doesn't love it, but I'm always putting my hair up and down, up and down, up and down. That's, I mean, it's from a necessity of it's hot outside and I need to put my hair up. Or sometimes it's like, I want it to be up now. Now I want it to be down. I'm okay with change. I like change. And that came from being a kid and being in church, realizing that the Lord doesn't constantly use the same things and he doesn't constantly have a repeat. If the Lord was like a CD, it would just repeat over and over again, and he would do the same things on a schedule at the same time, but that's not who he is. That's not what he does. Now, he is the same forever and ever and ever, but he doesn't move in the same ways. So if I'm living in a world that is complex and has a multitude of different avenues to travel down and to experience life through, and I just keep myself in one corridor of this huge, extensive life of avenues, if I keep myself in one place, I'll never experience the fullness of his creation. And I just, from life and from church, realized that I love change. Because the Lord changes people. He changed me. And even like the little things, people don't like moving their furniture around, or I wear different colognes every single day. Some people don't do that. I just love the change. I love a slight change of things.
Based off of your experience and description, it's very innate to you.
Yeah.
You're about the flow of things being different.
Yes.
I, on the other hand, not where I'm coming from personally. I like consistent steadiness. I do not change personal habits easily. It is moving a mountain to change any of my personal habits.
Yeah.
And there are still some, and my wife knows it, of some particular personal habits that I am still working on.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord. And I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
Every day, a little bit closer.
That's right.
Every day, that laundry will be in the basket perfectly.
We
Not
aren't
next
talking
to it,
about
not on
laundry
the
right
edge
now.
of it.
We
Right in it.
aren't going to talk about laundry.
But it's part of those little things, right? So, for my introduction into change, for me, the family environment around change was not consistent. It was not change born on consistency or upheld by consistency, but it was momentary changes that was very reactional. Like my environment of personal development that I witnessed was always based reactionary to an outer circumstance. It wasn't purpose driven, where you're saying,
good,
oh, I want to get somewhere in life. I want to become this kind of person. These are these ideals that I'm chasing after. And I'm going to intentionally engage with materials that will push me forward into those ideals. So for the environment, for me, it's very stagnant. And that is something that I'm personally overcoming with change.
Yeah.
And it was something when I first learned, my behavioral patterns whether it's down to small habits or my outlook on life about topics. Like there was this human growth and development class that I took in my, first 2 years of college, getting my general ed, and that was one of two catalysts for my personal journey of change. Like obviously you become slightly different as a person over time, but that class and one that was just it was not a theology class. It was really just a freshman orientation class. But because of the way that the professor handled it, he he did a good job orienting all of the freshmen. He said, wipe the board with wherever you're coming from, like whatever your background might be. He put a challenge in front of us.
Yeah.
So he proposed this hard Calvinistic belief, right? And he did that among some other things. He did certain stuff that helped us with testing in the future and other things like that. He did everything in the class not based off of a personal belief standpoint, but off of a challenge to the class standpoint. And
Yeah.
so he
That's
proposed a hard Calvinist view and then offered up the table for debate, but he didn't let us not cite sources or put forth illogical claims. We had to be able to say, this is how I got from A to Z on this particular discussion, and he would come back and rebuttal. And it was not done in a mean-hearted way, but he would just be like, hey, you're saying this about this counterpoint, but what about this scripturally backing it up? Do you have a reference? Do you have a standpoint to be able to move forward logically on what you're saying?
Yeah.
And that was a kick to the pants.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I have to change how I do my belief system. Like, it didn't deconstruct my faith, but it
Sure.
shot holes in all of the cardboard that was holding up the good stuff.
And that, for people who have never confronted, if for us Christians, if you've never confronted your faith, not Sunday school level, and that's no disrespect to Sunday school programs.
It is a necessary
But-
building block.
Yes. But if you've never confronted your faith and then you have a moment like that where you are shook to the core, you're questioning your identity, which probably means your connection and your relationship with the Lord might not have been what you thought it was.
It was so immature.
Which is fine. Which is fine. The questioning your faith is never the end of the world. Questioning your faith is the beginning of growth. And as long as you're diving in with others who know the Bible better than you, who are more mature in their faith, you're going to come out the other side way more mature and have a greater grasp on who you are with Christ and who he is within you, which is something we've been talking a lot about, but we don't have to go there right now. Great conversation point, but not now. I do love a challenge.
Absolutely.
I do love a challenge. And when you were speaking, I was thinking about what drove me to love the challenge of change. Because you're talking about, it was challenging and it did not make me comfortable. I was confronted at a young age with, look at all the people who won't change. And look at the bride that's dying. Obviously, the bride is alive and well because Christ is returning. But I was in a place, I was at a church where it wasn't, right? So I'm looking at people who love the Lord, but change was an oppositional force, even if it was from God. And that irked my soul. It irked my being. And I was like, I will never ever be. I was like 14. I was like, I'll never be someone who refuses to change when the Lord is calling me. I cannot be a part of that group because he's calling me to change them. And if I was confronted, I was going up to people who were well my senior and far more mature in the faith, but the Lord had tasked me to bring a challenge of change to them, and it wasn't received. And I accepted that, but it pushed me. I was like, I have to grow. I have to accept change when the Lord presents it to me later on in life. I failed later on in life, and I did not accept change. That's just a spoiler. Truthfully, anywho, I know that was a tangent, but that was my genesis for loving change. And it probably goes further back than that, with having a family that was, I mean, big family. Plans don't go according to schedule. Ever.
Yeah.
Not one time. 0 times, in fact. Love my family. That's just how it was. Anyways, so your professor,
It was a swift kick in the pants kind of class. And then the human growth and development thing made me have to look at my own family life differently.
another groundbreaking moment, by the way. We can't just skip past that. Yeah. Not to be dramatic, but everything you knew was crumbling.
Yeah, because, let's see. When you're growing as a person, you're getting into the transitionary period of late teens and early 20s. I think there's a lot of, that is a good season for personal growth. Mm-hmm. And a good season for personal identity as well, and challenging your upbringing. And that is a situation where there just came a point where, with my family, my upbringing, where I began to become disillusioned with the environment. There was a disillusionment period, and I had two routes ahead of me. Either I throw the pendulum of my life the opposite direction of my upbringing, or I do something similar but different. I hold it open-handed. I leave everything about my belief systems, my family belief systems, anything that I'm questioning in my hand, and I don't immediately throw it out.
Yeah.
And the Lord said, hold everything in the palm of your hand and don't hold on to anything in the palm of your hand. So psychologically, what that looks like is all of my beliefs were open and up in the air, but I'm not going to change any of them unless proper change takes their place. And that's all for the effort of not throwing the pendulum of my life to the other way. Because going from one extreme to another is not a healthy path, and I don't believe it to be a necessary path.
I mean, that's destruction of the soul. Mm-hmm. With the exception of life without Christ, life to Christ, which swings the pendulum to the other side, but also your pendulum was upside down.
And it was in
it was
a ditch.
It was in a ditch. All to say that your soul is very fragile, very fragile, and you have to take care of that.
Yeah, and I'd seen enough people go through deconstruction over their family and other things like that, that the first wisdom of change was slow observation, of being all right, this is what I see people doing in my environment. They immediately deconstruct their home life and start to dishonor their parents. And honor is not obedience.
No.
Honor is...
Tough lesson to learn right there. Tough lesson to learn right there.
It's a good one, though.
That's a good word.
Honor is not obedience.
That's right.
But honor is a loving action towards people, regardless of their behavior. Yeah. Right? So it's holding them in a place of respect, whether or not they deserve it. It's holding them in a place where you're honor doesn't badmouth, backtalk. It doesn't talk behind other people's back. Honor says, this is the role and the place that I ought to hold you in, and I'm going to hold you there, but I'm going to establish proper boundaries so that my honor does not turn into dishonoring the Lord with my life.
Yes. Yeah.
And so...
Come on. I've got nothing to say. That's good.
So walking into that first 2 years of college, was like, I have to deconstruct my family beliefs and I have to deconstruct my spiritual beliefs in a way that's healthy. And the way to do that is the open handed situation. And what that looks like is the Lord will blow out or burn up anything that shouldn't be there, and he will put back what ought to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, changing up the analogy, if you have a house that is built on the foundation of the Lord, you can change the framing. You can remodel
Sure.
up
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
there,
That's
right?
good, that's good.
So salvation and the foundation of your life being the Lord is the beginning point, because you can remodel all of the framing, housing, sheetrock, and the rest of it,
Yeah.
rewire, do what is necessary to gut that thing
Yeah.
from there. So since there was at least the foundation of some understanding of God coming from my family background, and the Lord being very gracious and talking in those seasons of my life very directly,
Praise the Lord.
which was a blessing, because there's not going to be change in a family unit that's not listening to the Lord unless there's some people that start listening to the Lord. And the Lord
Yes.
is good because he bridges that gap for us, and
Yes.
he's the one that initiates those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being, like, I walked into that season of change ready just to have anything uprooted and the proper thing put back in its place. And everybody, like learning that everybody's my teacher at this point. If they have a family unit that is healthy, it doesn't matter how old they are, I listen intently
Yes.
to start reshaping what's going on in here. And the other thing that involved was not attacking my family unit
Ooh. Yeah.
in response,
Yeah.
because honor's still there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go and spread the bad news about my family kind of a situation for any of those weak points that they had.
Yeah.
But I'm going to, as for me and my house,
Yeah. That's good.
do something different.
Come on.
And then hopefully through love be a bridge out of whatever that previous lifestyle was.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So be a different example and go from there.
Yeah.
How about you? What was
about
your
me?
experience with all those things? What specific challenges came up for you that you would say were key points of addressing some aspect of life that you then wanted to grow in?
What I'm thinking of now is coming out of college. I was, and if you were in my life at that time, you know this. If you worked with me at that time, you know this. I was severely depressed. It was bad. It was terrible. I was not having fun. I was not having more fun than everybody else, which is something I say now. Back then, that's not what it was. So it started with, I graduated from college, and I was like, man, I'm sick. I mean, I was angry. There was an anger within me for the depression that was in me and the way I had allowed Satan to drag me, and my own personal decisions allowed me to be dragged. I mean, I was at the bottom. Very plainly, I was at the bottom. And I graduated. I was like, I'm changing. I don't care. I'm changing. No one's going to stop me. And a small piece of that, and it happened before I graduated, where I was like, I got to get out of this pit. I have to. I would say small. Everybody knows the affirmations, right? Daily affirmations. They'll write them on their mirrors, etc. Psychology will tell you that's great and you should do that. And I agree. You should be having your daily affirmations that are in the places where you struggle most. Mm-hmm. And I had tendencies and moments of anger that would just, flash. Mm-hmm. I'm not a very angry person.
Yeah.
My family might disagree in this time. They would totally disagree. They would completely disagree. I would just have these hot flashes of anger. And it came back to, I wasn't getting my way. Mm. It's something simple. Like, I'm at work and I wanted to be able to do this, but we got busy. I couldn't do that. I didn't get my way. And I'd be angry. Or I could be having I could be having a conversation, and this is relevant now in our culture. I could be having a conversation with someone and they respond in a way I didn't expect or want, and it would make me mad. And it might not reflect on the outside, but I was angry. Yeah. I'm like, why? Why? That I didn't get my way, and that comes down to pride, and that comes down to arrogance. Simply is what it was. So every day I would wake up and I would say, it's a great day to have a great day. I mean, it's in my Instagram bio for years now. It's a great day to have a great day. And I would say that every day because I had this terrible thought pattern and I was going to break it. Like, I'm getting out of this depression little by little by little, and it's starting with the way I talk to myself and how I approach my day.
Yeah.
So I'd walk into work. It's 6:30 a.m. I'm quite boisterous. I'm much quieter where we are currently employed because I have to be. But at my former job, I can be very loud, and I like being loud, and I like having fun. So I walk in, and I'm yelling after these people just got absolutely bamboozled. I'm screaming, it's a great day to have a great day at 6:30 a.m. No one is ready for that, but I am taking a hold of what's in front of me because I needed to change, and I was going to. Yeah. So those words of affirmation, slowly, because even though I was depressed, there were people who were extremely suicidal, who didn't have the light of Christ at the end of that tunnel. And I knew, even though I was depressed, I'm getting out of this. And it wasn't a if, it was I am getting out of this. I need to be able to mark a change in others as well. So people would walk in every day to work, and it's a great day to have a great day. And I would say it over and over again throughout the day. And there are people who I've seen later in life, years later, and they'd be like, it's a great day to have a great day. And I'm like, that's right, it is. And I won't forget that because while it made a small impact on some people, it made a huge impact on me. It's not because the phrase was good. It wasn't because it was catchy. It's because it got me out. Yeah. It got the ball rolling to where it was previously standing still. And from that, I was able to take bigger steps of change, which was allowing myself to heal, right, from whatever. But it was all started from a phrase that I would tell myself every day, constantly. Not just saying it out loud, great. I would have to say it in here too. It's a great day to have a great day. When I'm angry, like those moments of anger, it's a great day to have a great day. But at the end of all this, right, that's like the beginning and the middle of my day. It's going back at the end when I leave work, when I'm at the gym, when I was at home, reviewing my whole day. Yeah. Mentally. I had to go through it. I had to review it, and it's not, it wasn't for sake of criticizing myself. That's not what I was doing. I needed to learn from where I messed up. And there was a lot of places I messed up, and I was constantly messing up, but that wasn't the point. Yeah. The point was I was messing up a little less each day. I could go through and be like, I didn't get angry at this this time. I wasn't mad. I wasn't frustrated. And eventually, it got to the point where I was finally free, of this depression and of these, cuffs that were on my life and my joy. And I was free. The Lord freed me of it. And I was not in one moment, but through, it was probably a year and a half of hard mental work every day. And once again, if you knew me in that time, if you knew me after that time, not a perfect guy. A very, Lord, help me. But I had to enact the change. So I did. Yeah. And it was that small little affirmation of, I know that it's not a bad day. And I'm not going to allow these false emotions to dictate how I respond to the environment around me. Yeah. Because I know today's the day the Lord has made, and I'm going to be glad. Because, I was known as a joyful person previously, and I was like, I'm getting back. It's going to look different than it did when I was not depressed previously. But I'm getting my joy back. no matter what. And I was going to fight for it. And it took a year and a half of hard work.
Yeah. And
But it's better than being freaking depressed and crying on the floor every night.
yeah. And like, I mean, jumping off of that, a couple of the things that come to my mind immediately about that, present references to resources and stuff that I can think of that touches on to that journey, and kind of like the key takeaways you can get from that was the resolution for change. You are resolute. Something's got to give, and something's got to be different. And I think like as each of us go through that time and season in our lives, we will find resolution points where we're like, this is it. This has got to be it. This has got to be the season for change. The other part was just sticking to it.
Yeah.
And pacing it out. Like, because of course you're not going to become a different person day of.
No.
Your behavior has to convert over time. But it wasn't motivated by, I think of Pastor Craig Rochelle has a lot of good stuff on mental warfare. And he's got a whole book, Winning the War on Your Mind.
Good book. Good book.
Good book.
Just to pause. Good book.
Linked in the show notes. Yep. And then he's also got a sermon series on YouTube and stuff that you can go through and watch. But one of the big things about that, and other pastors and other smart individuals have said this as well, but it's your emotions should not dictate your actions.
That's correct.
They inform you about your circumstances, but they should not be king over your life.
Which is, I mean, if we're talking, we have some college education under our belts. If we're talking about how children develop, that's like toddler and a little above. That's where a lot of people are stuck emotionally and behaviorally.
Yeah. Not to put people down.
No, and if that's where you're at, it's a recognition point of, maybe I'm not perfect, which is a good place to be, recognizing that you're not. But additionally, you're probably at a place of, if you didn't realize it, now you are, you're not going to panic because change isn't, like you said, overnight. And this whole conversation is about how to enact change, which is great. Welcome to the show. We can start now.
Wow, we're at a beginning point. So, like, jumping into those primary tenets, because one of the other things that you had mentioned was just having like a simple phrase that carried you through, right? For many people, whether it is a phrase or verse or anything else that comes along during those times, you get something that becomes an anchor to your desired change, a repeatable return to the state of mind that you're wanting to get into to push in that different behavior. And those self-affirmations, like, this is my primary advice to guys coming out of pornography, and it applies to this as well. The simple, stupid things work.
Yeah.
Like, whatever the most common, you've heard it 1,000 times, basic wisdom.
Yeah. It's basic.
Just do it.
It's basic.
There's
it
a
works.
reason why. Yeah. And so it applies with every other area. Like that bit of wisdom transfer over to any other part of our life. Whatever it is that people have said, hey, if you want to grow in this area, if you want to do this thing, is necessary for that growth and that development, that is where you begin. Like, climb down from a high horse. You are not any different than any other person that's had to deal with that struggle before. Your circumstances are not unique enough for that advice not to work, because it's common to human experience.
Yes.
And like, even with the comment of saying, emotional unregulation is like, it is a young attribute. It is something that we are supposed to mature out of. And there are environmental things that can rob us from natural maturing. And that's something where you might be in a state where you're like, why are you saying that about where my emotional progression is? But it's to say this: you have the ability to progress beyond that point, and you ought to. Like the natural human growth and development, you should move into a point of maturing, right? But there's a lot of, whether it's social media, whether it is addiction or the environment that you grew up in, there's always going to be a number of different elements that are going to be geared towards holding you back from the
Yeah.
kind of person you want to grow into.
Yes.
But it's choosing not to be victimized by anything, but to be a conqueror of all things.
Yeah, we're not. And if you are someone who struggles with victimization and you're a Christian specifically, you've got to get into that word and start going through the verses. And it doesn't take long. Google verses about victory.
Absolutely.
Google verses, do not be afraid. Because that's where your source is fear.
Yeah.
You are in response to fear. That's what's going on. And we are conquerors. And
Absolutely.
we've been talking about it. I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to say it again. Recognizing who you are in Christ is more than just something you hear an older person say when they're talking about having an identity.
Yeah.
It's the Lord knowing you and you knowing the Lord in spirit.
Yeah.
Which is way different than in knowledge. Because then, if it's all up here, we've talked about it, you're a Pharisee. But if it's in here, that is where you know that you know that you know. I was able to change my life because I knew that I knew that I knew that the Lord loved me. And I knew that I knew that I knew that I was His. Even though I was living in sin at times, I knew that I knew that I knew I was His child, and I have value because I am His child, and I am with Him in heavenly places. And that is a process of growing, recognizing who you are in Christ. But having that, you can get rid. I refuse to have a victim mentality, even though etc. happened. I didn't care. I'm not going to allow someone to dictate who I am when I am a conqueror.
Absolutely. And it's like, it is not a standpoint. Going at it and saying don't have a victim mentality or don't be a victim of anything is not to say that you are not at some point victimized by a situation or a person or anything like that. Being a victim of something, but then is different than choosing to live under that moment.
Yeah, which is, demonic.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it.
Yeah, it's like it is completely a lie from the enemy to live under a singular situation that happened in your life. Because, the Lord was not joking when He's like, "Hey, it's gonna be tough. Life is tough. Go read the Book of Job again.
Go read it again.
Things happen.
Go read Proverbs.
Things happen outside of our understanding of what's going on, and that's just life." Like the Lord has at no point throughout Scripture joked or made light of the fact that this is not easy. And there's a whole other conversation to do with that.
Yeah.
But the reality is like He's there with us through it, and He equips us to overcome it.
Yeah.
I think of just anybody that's been through difficult situations, and each of us have had our own personal hard, low moments and tragic moments. But it's being able to say, no, I am not that thing that happened to me. I am who I am in the Lord.
Yeah.
I'm everything that He says I am. And therefore, I will respond and learn how to respond differently. For me, one of those solidifying moments of like not living under a moment of trauma was a situation. He really wants his head to be pet. Where I had wrecked a vehicle, rolled it into a field that was 5 feet lower than the rest of the road. So the car just, whee!
Dang.
You're just in there and you're like, and then you're looking over at the person next to you like, all right, am I going to be looking at a crushed person or are we all right? And everybody was all right as far as that goes. Walked away from it and whatnot because the Lord is good in that situation, and that was what I experienced. But I dealt with just a post-trauma every time I drove after that. Anytime I would get next to or anywhere near the side of the road, like it would seize up my body, would cause a response of panic and everything like that. And that's post-traumatic stress of that kind of tragic event. And so that was an honestly an easy, direct example for me of being able to look at a traumatic moment and be able to sit down and say, am I going to forever deal with this traumatic moment or am I going to overcome it? And I was like, I don't want to live that way. I don't want to be somebody that is stressed out by driving, and I don't want that to forever affect the rest of my driving.
Yeah.
And so I intentionally, and this is not the case for all situations, but for that specific situation, I had the ability to always drive past that spot and to encounter it again and again. And it was stressful. There was a couple of times when I stopped the car and I cried a little and I moved back on.
Hot dog.
But I kept praying and I was like, no, this situation is ended. I am no longer in that situation. I do not have to respond according to that experience. I am a good driver.
Yeah.
I do not have to make the same mistakes. I have learned that lesson.
Yeah.
I get to do better, and I am not in that traumatic event anymore. So it was that constant rehearsing and pulling myself out from that moment so my body could get on the same page. And it is the same with all the rest of the areas of life where it's like you can walk through something that's tough and you're going to have the stress that comes over the body with response to that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to live there. And the Lord can sometimes deal with that in a moment, dramatically just heal somebody of stress. And it may be a situation where you learn the self-discipline of walking through and out of that.
Yeah. I like that. There's a lot to be grasped. Dealing with what's there, not letting it sit, not letting it decay and turn into the venom that seeps into your soul and destroys a little part of you, which is you're being formed in those moments. If you allow it to sit there and you don't deal and you don't go after it, you're going to be formed. And we love John Mark Comer. We love him. If you want to say the quote, you can. I'll let you.
Go for it.
So I'm going to make sure I get this right. So if we're not being intentionally formed by Jesus, then it's highly likely we are being unintentionally formed by something else, which is true through and through. It's always going to be true. We are spiritual beings, and we're being formed and shaped regardless of your intentionality and your desire. You're being shaped by someone or something else.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
We want to take a second to thank the friends of the show who are a part of this podcast. So shout out to our folks over at Pure Threads who are supplying this t-shirt. It is wonderful. What a great t-shirt this is. So happy to be friends with them. And all the rest of our friends, you'll find them down in the description below. Please check them out.
The ones that keep us caffeinated.
Yes, great coffee, great shirts, great content put out by our friends. So check them out. And we're back. After a short break, here we are again. I don't remember where we were, and that's okay unless you remember.
We had just done the John Mark Comer quote.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Well, you do remember. So that being
Iron bolt sometimes.
Heck yeah. So being formed by something else, which is
Everything's coming back now.
yeah, everything. So we don't want to be formed unintentionally.
No.
You know that I want to dictate what changes me, because what you're formed by creates patterns of change, right? Whether it's a pattern of thinking or pattern of physical habit.
Yeah.
We want to change our environment, not have our environment change us.
Yep. And if we go back to our original idea, like starting with the hardest thing, that is difficult. Intentionally directing your life is difficult.
Yeah.
Out of two different ways, because it's like nobody really does that. There's a limited bandwidth on the number of people that anybody can reference in their life. And and look at them and say, they have an intentional mechanism for change and for personal growth.
Yeah.
And it's so evident that you know it about them,
That's so true. Yeah.
where you're like, that is somebody who's always growing. That is somebody who knows how to grow. That is somebody who I want to be like in their growth, right?
Yeah.
It's such not a thing having a way of living and a mechanism of growth that you don't really see it. Like there's the self-help people, there's the, atomic habit people and all those kinds of
Sure.
things like that. But it's less than all encompassing.
Yeah.
And with like all the honor and respect though. Like obviously they're blazing a trail in the area and we all do well to sit under a teaching and to follow it, right? When it comes to developing ourselves and stuff like that. But you don't see that as the average person.
No. And in fact, you're going to get pushback when you start changing. Because normally, and this is going to be true most of the time, especially at the beginning of changing, you're going to have to make social changes and daily habit changes,
Yeah.
which can dramatically shift how your life looks and how your social life looks. And to be honest, it's a big change, and I'm not diminishing that. Once you do it, you don't think about it. For myself, I didn't think about it. I was like, I'm not going to communicate with these people. That's going to get pushback.
Yeah.
But typically, those weren't friendships and lines of communication that were healthy to begin with, that were consistently upheld, and that we were always in communion together. That's not what was going on. So I got rid of them. And it's not like people do this because of social media. They announce everything. If you're not talking to someone often and you continue to not talk to them, they're not going to know.
No.
Right? And once they do pop back up, okay, they pop back up. As long as you're not making a constant effort to see them and they're just there for a split second and they're gone, that's fine. Unless they cause you to, stumble in ways that are dramatic, right? If it is a social change of someone that is close to you or many people that are close to you, creating healthy boundaries is probably something that you're going to do, and it's probably something that isn't in place to begin with. And once you create those healthy boundaries, those people will fall off. Because I don't have indiscriminate access to your life anymore. I can't just pull you around into my bad decisions. Well, that sucks. I want to do that once you cut them out.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I don't want to diminish it. That's hard. But once they're gone, I don't know how many people have experienced peace. Having peace is way better than maintaining a relationship that is a terminal disease to your life.
Yeah. And I mean, we can take a lesson from the minimalist community on this one, which is you don't need to be friends with everybody. You don't need to have a million friends. Even a social butterfly who probably intimately knows 200 people, whereas I would know well 4.
Yeah.
Like I don't draw a big circle when it comes to people that I stay in regular communication with. But even like for you, who has a lot more people that you stay in regular communication with, like if you take an example from those who are stepping back from befriending everybody on Facebook kind of a thing, I remember in my time growing up where like that was an indicator of, I don't know, people just use that as a metric of status.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people would consider that like followers or subscribers or things like that being their personal metric for status because of the influencer context as opposed to the Facebook friend context. But the concept bridges in this way. You can't have genuine relationship with that many people. Then not everybody should have access to you.
No.
Social media has given us the idea that we need to be accessible by everyone, and that is not a good, healthy, psychological place to be in.
No, and they shouldn't be able to have direct influence on you constantly, even if it's on their part indirect,
Yeah.
right? So the influencer thing, it's like, oh, I want to be like that. I see them doing this. Or your friends, even. It's like, oh, I see them doing this. You're taking that in, and once again, you're being formed unintentionally by social media, which is social media is fun and it's a good time, but it's a detriment to the soul if you don't know how to maintain a healthy relationship with it. Like, we don't post on our personal platforms
It's
ever.
been years.
Ever.
Once that personal growth kicked in that particular area,
Yeah.
I mean, I was never really like a great at being somebody that did a lot of posting.
Right.
But even in this season when I tried to do that the most, like it really fell off, and I so far off of all of those different platforms.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of switching into meaningful personal connections. But going back to the topic and getting back on topic with,
My bad.
no, you're doing great. We both flowed that direction. But getting back on topic with the idea of like when you're changing, there's pushback.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. And that is like, I've seen that come in a number of different avenues. I've seen family members who have desired change, and I have a brother who's going through that, and other people. And I've seen individuals where they desire change, but family members try to hold on really tightly. And there are people where when you go and you decide to live differently, if you just don't reach out, you won't be reached out to. There are others, if you don't reach out, they will obsessively reach out and show up at your door.
Yeah.
And both circumstances require healthy boundaries. And there is an unfortunate truth about establishing healthy boundaries, like what you're saying. People won't like it.
Yeah.
And I know that there are better ways to describe it, but the best way that I've come about being able to describe it for my own life and others is you get used to a pattern of communication. There's a pattern of how we relate to each other, and there's an expectation that people will have on how you're going to respond to them. That's family dynamics, that is relationship dynamics between married individuals, dating individuals, friends. Like there is the expectation of your behavior. And once you start to try and meaningfully change that expectation of behavior, especially if you're coming out of an unhealthy mode of operating into a healthy mode of operating, there is the storm of initial change.
Yeah.
And that is when everybody's upset. You are called either a sellout, or you think you're better than other people,
Yeah.
or there's all of these emotional flare up that's going to come when you want to initiate change in your life, depending on the nature of those relationships. Yeah. And so it's like there is no lying to you right now. It may be tough when you want to change interpersonal relationships and put up healthy boundaries. So as you start new patterns of behavior and you go for relational change, regardless of what it is, there is that bell curve of that interaction where it is your normal way of relating to each other as it has always been. There's the change initiated by you, which results in conflict. That conflict escalates as you uphold these new standards and these new boundaries. It will reach its peak point, and unless somebody's just out to have a grudge against you, it will come back down.
Yeah.
And the new means of interacting with the people around you will become the accepted norm.
Yeah.
So hold out, push through. It will be difficult. For some, it will be extremely difficult.
Yeah.
You might have a parent, or you might have a friend or a spouse or a person that is not ready for you to grow and become different and willing to accept that.
Yeah.
But push through because it's worth it.
Yeah.
They will calm down,
Yes.
or they won't, and your boundaries will do the talking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the goodness ahead of you is worth it.
Yes, and obviously, we're not professionals
No, this
on
is just our
change.
experience.
This is our experience, and we're not looking to create conflict. That is never the goal. However, if our actions toward being more Christ-like create conflict through righteous change, it's what it is. First
Life
Peter,
happens.
First Peter says he was a rock of stone and offense, and I have been loving that, not for the sake of being offensive. His righteousness spoke volumes, and it created change around him, and people were offended by everything he did. He being Jesus. Anywho,
And people don't like mirror, like a change in behavior on your part reflects the bad behavior of somebody else back at them. And doesn't matter who you are, whenever there's situations, whether it's like relational stress between me and my spouse, I don't like seeing my bad behavior reflected back at me. And I have to emotionally put myself down on that and be like, all right, this is me. I'm the problem here. I need to change my behavior. And if you're at a spot in that, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If somebody else is not at a spot like that, it can be difficult. And we don't want to be shy or lie about that difficulty.
No.
That's been our experience to some degree. And, we don't want conflict for people, but conflict happens.
yeah, and life is a whole bunch of how you respond to conflict. Unfortunate. That's what it is. So you're going to have to deal with the conflict one way or another. Just like with change, it's inevitable. There's no escaping it. So you have to learn how to deal with it well.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's a time to learn. It's unfortunately a time that people are going to disagree with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And we should probably clarify. We spoke about this. Perhaps we didn't make it clear. The goal of change in our lives is, to become more Christ-like. The end goal should be that for us, which means for others, they might not get it. Might not make sense. Why you're not doing anything wrong. Why would you change that?
But yeah, like C.S. Lewis says, I think it's Mere Christianity where he brings this one up. I don't remember the exact book within that or reference within that book. But we so often think of things in the context of good or bad, not better and best.
That's good.
Yeah. So with all of life's aspect, we're not walking up to life saying, I'm better than that guy, or at least I'm not this thing. It's what is the best thing?
That's so good, yeah.
What's the higher standard I can go to? And it's not for the purpose of putting other people down, but it's the personal growth aspect where it's like, I want goodness for my life because I want to be goodness to other people.
Yes.
And I should be striving for the best possible outcome, defaulting to the higher standard, those kinds of situations, trying to be a better spouse, trying to be a better person because it's what we ought to do, just where it's at.
Yeah. C.S. Lewis is so good. I love that. And I can't find what I was going to say, but I'm sure you said it better than I did. I'm sure. Shout out to C.S. Lewis. But the change we want to have should permeate through our whole lives for the better.
Yeah.
Right? As you were saying, that's the goal. So if you're trying to change and it's not a net positive on your life, what is the purpose? Not saying don't do it, obviously. There are things that are just a neutral change.
Yeah.
That does exist. There are neutral changes you can make. Changing what color clothes you wear.
Exactly.
That's a neutral change. So that might make somebody upset in your life that you're dressing different. That's conflict, but it's okay, right? So it's something simple like that. But we want our change to be a net positive on our environment and on ourselves. That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think of that in like my personal relationship context. When my wife and I first got married, something that we used to guide our decision making on household practices. That's like your classic cap on the toothpaste sort of conversations, right?
Heck yeah.
That so all of those little marital strife situations, how towels are folded, where stuff gets put away,
Praise
how you
God.
load the dishwasher, every little life practice that turns into conflict. Our remedy that we went for was default to the higher standard.
That's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. If it's something the other person cares about and I don't have the ability to muster care for, there are a number of things where it's like I I don't not care in the sense of negative. I bear no emotion towards this.
Yeah.
Or thought.
It is very open-handed.
There's a blank space in my mind that does not occupy.
Yeah. Praise
So it's like I'll default to the higher standard. Like,
Yeah.
is this something that is not a negative change on my part? It is just I can learn a different practice that
Yeah.
would be a blessing to this other person. It's a no-brainer
Yeah.
situation. You default to the higher standard. I will learn how to fold that towel differently, and she'll have the grace for my process of learning.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. So all that is to frame what changes to us. I mean, the last bit is application. How are you going to apply application? We're tearing down barriers. If you have seen, as we said earlier, if you're trying to change something and you have seen someone practice or put in place a practice that worked, try it. Keep it simple, as we said earlier. If something's worked in the past, it's probably going to work for you. So there are many methods to change. And I mean, it takes between 18 and 200 days to have a habit become second nature, right? Not to change a habit. You can change a habit quick. You can change a habit quick. But it's when it's second nature to you. So for some people, let's say putting away a grocery cart. That might not be something you do. You should. Okay,
ought to.
that is a key
Common
indicator. There are studies done. Okay, it's a key indicator of a society being good or bad is if you put your what's Ash like to say, carriage. Is putting your carriage. No, not a. Is it trolley? Do people say trolley?
I think some people say trolley and some people say carriage.
I hear buggy. Buggy and carriage, and then
Shopping cart.
grocery cart, shopping cart. Anyways,
Cart.
putting those away. If you don't do that, you should, like we said. But that's an indicator of a society that is or isn't good, right? But you should do that.
Yeah, and like getting into a couple of practical topics. So we've covered kind of a broad spectrum here, but nailing down key features of change for personal practice after this. So as you take this conversation, which hopefully for whatever purpose has opened you up to more of this idea of change and opened you up to recognizing it, maybe in your own life or your own need for it or your own desire for it, and maybe putting some words and giving you some vocabulary with regards to it, some practical steps to get you going is begin with humility.
Yes.
Assume differently. Like when you walk into the room, instead of being like, oh, I know something about this, assume you don't first. And take that humility to an extreme. We should not have to have rocks or donkeys speak to us when people can. You know?
Yeah.
That's that one prophet did. But let people speak into your life, and then do not judge the package in which that comes in. Right.
Right.
Wisdom is wisdom, regardless of how it's bundled. And obviously, great wisdom is great when you see people walking it out, and you can then trust that person's wisdom more thoroughly.
Yeah.
But if something just works, even if you don't like the person, if it's good stuff, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
You have to just sit down and say, you know what? That was good.
It worked.
I should do that.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't like that person, but they're right.
Dang it. Yeah, that humility part, because it's so true throughout all of life. The people that act like they know the most typically are not the most knowledgeable in that, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, what is it? What's that thing where the more you know about something, the more you realize you don't know a lot about it, or whatever it is. And let that be the case for life, because that's something personally I always want to, and I'm trying to grow in, is I don't know as much as I think I do. Very simply, I'm not that smart to be able to say, oh, I know. But there are moments of pride, arrogance, where it's like, I know this. Doesn't matter. I can still get something. Like Christian operates in things that I cannot. And I honor that, and I want to learn from that. And I can't act like I know more than him while he is literally practicing the thing I cannot do at this time, right? And that's a great thing for me to see someone in action, like he was just talking about.
For you.
Thank you.
Things I need to grow in.
Yeah. So there's constantly going to be that internal struggle, that pushback of your ego, right? We talked about it at the beginning. That pushback of, I think I know a little something about this. Yeah. That might be the case. Knowing a little doesn't create a full picture.
No. And it's not to say to go around like groveling over your existence.
Oh,
You
no.
can have a confidence in knowledge without having a pride in knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, know what you know that you know as much as you know, and that you don't know at all.
That's right. That's so good. That's so good.
To know. And then, honestly, as we go forward, like, humility is a great starter, and a great way to continue. Also, you can humble yourself, and you don't have to be humbled.
That's way better.
I'm going to say it again.
That's way better. Say it.
You can choose to humble yourself. Scripture advises that you humble yourself.
Or be humbled, fool.
Because, man, that was such a great lesson of life to learn.
Yeah.
To walk up to a situation and be like, you know what? Actually, I can humble myself. I can assume humility in this situation, and not have to learn it the hard way. You do not have to learn this the hard way.
And that
humble
usually,
yourself.
That usually involves, get this, being quiet, which is something I struggle with. But I've learned how to shut up when I know that this person is way more knowledgeable about something. And that has helped tremendously. Just keeping my mouth shut. And that creates, the Bible tells us again and again, that creates opportunity for us to learn when we're not speaking so much.
That even a fool can be thought wise if they keep their mouth shut.
They said it's so good.
Proverbs.
It's so good.
Was that Proverbs?
Yes, it is.
No, that's a proverb.
Yeah, it is.
Psalms is Proverbs.
What?
I conflate those in my mind.
One
is the nature of how they are different.
Heard.
People get that.
Yeah. So we've talked about recognizing that there are systems of change that work. You don't need to be special and unique and create a whole new system for yourself. Go with what exists. Go with what is proven to be true. Run with it.
And don't system jump. Just like you're saying, where it's like there are proven systems that work. There are 1,000,001 ways to take notes.
Yes.
I've been trying to grow and develop my note-taking ability, especially for work, because we're constantly getting information about a bunch of different events and different stuff like that. Times, locations, all that stuff is different. I got in this loop of wanting to like get better about taking notes, and I kept note system jumping, where I would download so many different note-taking apps and tried so many different points. And finally I was like, any one of these is good.
Consequently, I have also downloaded all of these apps as well, and we are working.
Yeah,
it's happening. It's happening.
I'm like, hey Elijah, did you
No, I didn't. Let me do that now.
did you have this one app? This is so cool. Look at this feature.
It's experimenting is fine. Experimenting with systems is good, but stick with one.
Just do the yeah. Knowing knowing a tool well is better than having every tool.
Facts, brother. That's so true. So that's stick to a system. Know the systems that are available to you, and this is to break down barriers. There's the internet. You just go and you Google systems to change, or how do I change, or whatever. We should probably give them a good Google search.
You know
for
what?
that.
We will attach a great prompt or a great suggestion.
How do I
for
change?
this.
That's probably a great one.
That's our homework.
So there's that. But additionally, keeping lists is great. What do I want to change? And write it down.
Yeah. If you are a pen and paper person, don't try and be a digital person. If you are a digital person, don't try and be a pen and paper person. I try to be like super digital with my stuff, but I have to have a pen and paper journal.
Unless that's something you're needing to change and you feel convicted about it. Then change it. So there's lists, keeping lists of what you need to change, and then as you change it, keeping track, right? Daily journals is a great way to do that.
What inspires change? What keeps people from change?
Practical application. Methodology, stick to those accountability partners,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
and then you can't enact all change. There we go.
You can't.
We might just keep that in there for fun. But
It's me hobbling over.
yeah, hobbling over. Well, at least you did it well.
We'll keep a little like snippet of it.
Just fast forward through it.
Yeah, where it's like I'm right here, then all of a sudden, blam.
Bang, bang. So accountability partners, also another great way to change. And it's not someone you don't see. It's got to be someone you see consistently. And you allow them to have, I should say, an authority over you in this moment or in this pattern. Because if you don't let them have the authority over you and you don't humble yourself in that time, you're not going to see any change when they come to you and be like, hey, you're doing this.
Yeah, they should be able to enact a consequence to
Yes.
your failure.
Yes. They need to be
you're
able to
not-
speak into your life firmly.
Yes.
If they can't speak into your life very firmly, then they're not the right person. And that's okay. Not everybody needs to be that person.
Yeah.
It needs to be someone who's trustworthy. It needs to be somebody who's not going to be shaken when you give them pushback, right?
Yeah.
They got to be strong in what they're doing with you.
And the simple touch points for what makes a good accountability partner relationship, like Elijah's saying, consistency. They need to be able to speak into your life. You don't pick the busiest leader in your life.
Yeah.
They're great. They're amazing. And they're busy.
That's right.
You got to pick somebody, like Elijah said, that is available. Because it doesn't matter whether or not that person's the best at it or you're the best at it. That's not accountability. Accountability is an agreement of two people to stick with something and for that person to be able to authoritatively speak into your life.
Yeah.
So they don't need to be the best. They don't even need to be good at the thing. They are just holding you accountable.
Yes, yes. Which, once again, humility. It's like, well, this person isn't good at this. Why would I submit to them? It's not about that. It's about recognizing the change in yourself, coming under the accountability with Christ and saying, I need to do this, and it doesn't matter where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
if obviously the pre-qualifier is if they're going to turn around and give you bad advice or not actually hold you to growing, or they're like, oh, you don't actually need to worry about that, man. Just calm down, man. That doesn't, I mean, it is, both people need to be on the same page about growing.
Yeah.
That goes without saying, but we're going to say it.
We should not presume that everybody knows. So we're gonna work on that. And I think ultimately, when it comes down to it, you're never just gonna change one thing in your life. You need to have mechanisms in place to where you can enact change again and again, right? And it's a multi-tool, cog system
Yeah.
for change. So if you are changing one thing, you should be able to draw on that again and again, and it might get tweaked. You might change it time to time, but the end goal is to be able to have a system that is constantly able to produce change.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, it goes down to that simple prayer of like, Lord, search my heart.
So good.
Like, identify any, wicked way in me
Yes.
and like find it out. And the thing is, like, when the Lord searches your heart, it's the big and the small things, right?
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
I love the saying, the whole others may, but I may not. Like there may be something in your life that's totally fine for somebody else to do, but
Yes.
because of who you are and the way that you're wired or the background that you're trying to come out of, others may, but I may not.
Yeah.
It might be cool for them, but it's not cool for you,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
so
it's simple things. Like if you, I mean, I love the leadership thing that we were taught about a gentleman who just has a flip phone.
Yeah.
Because he was like, hey, I had an issue with pornography.
Uh-huh.
And so for ever since then, he has only ever had a flip phone.
Yeah. That's
He
so
said,
cool.
"Stem phone for me. I'm not going to flirt with temptation on that one."
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to be able to reflect on the elements of your life and be like, all right, what am I weak against? And what permanent guardrail needs to go up on that?
Yes. And to that end, there has to come a point where, like the Old Testament kings, they did not take down the high places.
Yeah.
And that allowed a constant rebuilding of evil in Israel. If they would have just taken out the high places, it would have been over. So for you who can't do the half measures, don't do the half measure. Take the full measure against what is keeping you from changing. And if that is your daily habit, if you're needing to wake up every day and change what you do first, that might be a big thing for you. That might be tearing down a high place for you.
Yeah.
If the first thing you do is look at your phone, that's not great. Let's not do that. If the first thing or the last thing you do is keeping you from succeeding, right? You might have to change how your entire day looks, and that's all right. That's okay. You just have to be committed to tearing down the high place so that you can actually enact the change. You don't, what's Dave Ramsey like to say? Live like no one else so you can live like no one else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to do what other people are unwilling to do, and that you might be unwilling to do it at first, but you'll never accomplish change without it.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, keep it simple, Like it doesn't have to be big, audacious, immediate goals, but you're always working towards that better.
Yes, and we said it leading up to this. You can't enact every change you want to make immediately. You got to do small step by small step, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The small steps create big change.
So, closing thoughts, and
Yeah.
on our way to the end of this, we just want to ask you guys some questions. What are some observations that you've made about change in your life?
Yeah.
Or what were some moments where for you that prompted that journey for you?
Yeah, and are you observing yourself? Because if you're not looking at yourself in your own life, you're not going to be able to change. So are you constantly observing yourself and asking the Lord to examine your whole being? Is there anything I can change? And if you're not saved, you can still look at your own life and go, okay, I get it. I see this immediately. And maybe you don't see it immediately. There's an opportunity. I think that for sure got picked up. There's an opportunity, though, to examine yourself. I think a lot of people have lost the art and the necessity to self-reflect. So are you self-reflective? Are you someone that takes time to look at your week, your day, and go, wow, this happened, this happened, this happened?
And if you're in a situation where you're not a believer, like, you should find the Lord, because listen, that helps.
That does help. And there's going to be people, hopefully, in the comments or ourselves. That's a journey to be on with other people, not alone.
Absolutely. That's all based in community.
Comment your favorite part of the episode. Comment your least favorite part of the episode as well. We will listen to that. We will take that. Additionally, we appreciate every like and subscribe and share that you guys do. Thank you so much for the first episode, Faithful Garbage. You guys were so kind in how you communicated to us. We loved the reception we got.
Yep.
And there's a lot that we're learning from, but it was great.
Wonderful conversations. And thank you again to the friends of the show.
Yes.
If you want to be a friend of the show and, get linked in the show notes and all that stuff, communicate with us, reach out to us in the modes in which that's available.
Yeah.
But we look so forward to talking about the next thing.
Yes.
And just having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will catch you next time as we're all learning how to human being.
We did so good.
We're done.
Bless the Lord.
Yep.
Yep.
Or
We start.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Like that. This is very good. I think we welcome them back.
Yes.
Then we welcome each other. And then we welcome the friends of the show.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The way you did that frightened me. Graham, you're the best.
All right, let's picture this. We just...
Graham, if you can hear me, this smells so good.
Here we are again for the second time.
This is the fourth time with stuttering.